So now let's look at the case of rare event oversampling. So this topic is a generic topic. It is not specific to neural network, and this can be applied for any technique. Okay? And what is oversampling? We talked about oversampling way back. Okay? When do we do oversampling? So when you have a rare event, okay, very rare, so like 1% of the records is your event, 99% is non-event. So that will be a rare event, in which case the naive method, if you just classify everything as non-event, then you're going to get a misclassification rate of 1%. And that would be very good, and you will not have another method that gives you better misclassification rate, but then you're missing out all your events completely. So that's not a good situation. So if that is the case, then you can oversample the rare event, so you'll have more of that in the sample. So then you will be able to do better analysis with that. So how do you do oversampling in SAS? Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about now. And you do that by using sample node. So create a data sample. Okay. So connect. So what this node does is it generates a sample from your data, right? So here the default method is stratified. Okay. Stratified is your default method. Okay. So you really don't have to select stratify. The default is good. Now to oversample, so what we are now trying to do is you're going to stratify the data, okay, into target equal to 0, target equal to 1. Okay, so in rare event, target equal to 1 is going to be just a few. Target equal to 0 would be 99%, or in that neighborhood. There's lots of target equal to 0, very few target equal to 1. So what we want to do in oversampling is to have equal number of zeros and ones. So you stratify by the target and then select, so that's by default. You're stratifying by target, okay, and then we want, you can select any one of these. We want percentage, okay, what percentage of the data that you want to sample, okay. So here, if you want to sample as much as possible, right? So you have the data set and you want oversampling, but you want to make sure that you sample as much as you can. All right. So then you need to set this to 100%. Okay. Of course, it's not going to select 100% because you're going to say that I want to oversample the event. So, and for that, okay, here is the criterion for oversampling. You can specify proportional or equal. Okay, there are 4 options, but equal is what we want. So what equal will do is that the number of observations that we sample from each strata is exactly equal. So if the number of zeros is equal to number of ones in the sample. So if you set the percentage to 100, then what it will do is it will take all of the ones and then select equal number of zeros. Okay. But if you set this at a percentage smaller than that, then it is likely, depending upon what number that you set there, you may not get all of the ones. You may not. Oftentimes you would, but if you set a really low percentage, then you may end up not getting some of the ones. So the safe thing to do is to just say 100, then all of the ones, and when you say equal, all of the ones will be selected and equal number of zeros will be selected as well. So now you run, well, before that. Now, when you do this, okay, your classification matrix, okay, so what you get, okay, is going to be biased because your sample is biased now, right? Biased towards the ones. So you have to do, remember we did some weights and then we adjusted the values of the frequencies to take care of this fact that the sample is biased. So that is done here. Adjust frequencies. If you set to no, which is default, then it's not going to do any adjusting. It's just going to give you what the classification matrix numbers are. Okay. So, but you have to change that to yes. Okay. If you say adjust frequencies to yes, then the factor SAS will compute the factor and then it'll do the adjustment. So let's run the results. So here we started with 5,000 records, okay, with 4520 zeros and 480 ones, and the sample is it's taken all of the 480 and then equal number of zeros, so you have oversampled. So you oversampled the ones. All right, so let's copy and paste and use that one. All right. Okay, so now if you run this, let's look at the results. All right, so if you go down, all right, so here are our frequencies, okay, for our classification table, and you see the frequencies are not whole numbers. Okay, usually frequencies will be whole numbers, right? How many true positives, how many true negatives, how many false positives, how many true positives, that will be whole numbers. And the reason why these are not whole numbers is because they have been adjusted for oversampling, right? So if you didn't do that, suppose if you go back and change this to no, adjust frequencies to no, and then if you run it, okay, so now if you go look at the frequencies, so you see that they are whole numbers. Okay, so when you oversample, so you need to make sure that you set the adjust frequencies to yes.